Now, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has urged President Muhammadu Buhari to urgently redirect the proposed spending of 4.8 billion naira of public money to monitor WhatsApp messages, phone calls and text messages of Nigerians and other people to pay some of the salaries of the striking resident doctors. This, according to SERAP, will remove the threats to fundamental human rights of Nigerians and ensure access to quality health care for the socially and economically vulnerable people in the nation. We still have Abdulmumuni Adetokunbo, who is a legal practitioner and, of course, the executive director, SERAP, in the building. Thank you so much. One more time. I keep saying thank you to you. Maybe it's very important. All right, now, this statement by SERAP urging the president to redirect the monies for WhatsApp, to trying to monitor WhatsApp messages. But the question is, why would you want to monitor something as private as that?
Let me say this. What does a government lose when it leaves people to hear their views? We know that there are boundaries. When inflammable statements are made, we know that that is off the cuff. But when people just express their opinion, I don't think any serious government should bother about that if you are doing what is right. The business of governance is provide for the people, give them the enabling environment to do their thing, their own way, but within the bounds of the law. That is fair. So how would the spending of 4.8 billion naira to monitor what? Monitor the way people speak, monitor the way the people express their opinion? I don't think that money will actually go to monitor anything. It will end up eventually in people's private pockets. I can't see any other land anywhere in the world where such outrageous expenditures are made to do what? To more or less gag the people from speaking. A government does not have any business gagging people from speaking when you are facing your own duty. Your duty is to provide for the security of life and property of Nigerians. It is when you fail in that duty, that is when you start saying you want to monitor or whatnot.
Now, this call on the government to redirect this budgeted humongous amount of money.
Thank you.
Don't you think it's too late? Do you think it's always been the case? Once the government has decided to do a thing, yeah, there'll be hues and cries all over the place. But at the end of the day, they still go ahead and do it. Don't you see it repeating in this circumstance?
You see, we in SERAP, we have taken it upon ourselves to call the attention of government at every occasion since we started our operation in about at least about 20 years now. We have taken it upon ourselves to talk when we should talk, bring the attention of government to things it is neglecting. We say in SERAP that the business of monitoring was up calls. It's not the business of government. Private citizens are entitled to speak within the ambit of the law. But when you now engage in monitoring, who is monitoring who? There are things that should be done by government, a responsible government. We are not seeing that being done repeatedly now. And that is why there is so much discontent in the land. Discontent all over Nigeria. It's not a sectional thing now. It's a Nigerian phenomenon now that people in a part are dissatisfied with what is happening. And we have been talking about herdsmen and the classes all over. What has the government done to ameliorate the sovereignty of Nigeria in those respects? And you now say you now start monitoring common expression of opinion as in WhatsApp. I don't understand what that means.
Okay. Now you are a legal practitioner. The right of freedom of expression, peaceful assembly and association. Now SERAP believes the move of the presidency would interfere or violate this right. So I'm asking, as a legal practitioner, what does the law say about this fundamental rights of Nigerians?
Thank you. In chapter 4 of the Nigerian Constitution, it guarantees freedom of speech, freedom of all manners of freedom. And the purpose of this guarantee is for Nigerians to behave and act as members of a larger world community. And that is almost given. And there are boundaries which citizens must not cover. It is not as if this is the first government in Nigeria. We had government in the 1960 to 63. We had even military governments in Gowon, in Muritala, in Obasanjo the first time, subsequently. So it is not the first time or a new thing that Nigerians are expressing their opinion on all manners of things. Nigerians can talk. The people that were monitoring the world all over were saying Nigeria happens to be the freest people in Africa. It's like we want to go back to the backstage and be operating as if we are in a jungle or we are in an environment where dictatorship and its ethos represent what goes on. That is not fair. Because when you gag the people, you are limiting their ability to think and be productive. That is what I see in this attempt to spend 4.8 billion naira. And I'm saying that the 4.8 billion naira that is intended to be spent on this gagging of the press, more or less, will backfire, will not give us the desired things that we need in Nigeria. The people should be up and doing in bringing the attention of government to what is going on. If a population becomes docile, it is not in the interest of government. It is not.
I'm glad you are a key member of SERAP, a director at that. And I want to commend this very organization, this very body, for doing so well in raising alarm when unexpected or things are done wrong.
Thank you.
But why do you always stop at raising the alarm? What happens when after raising the alarm nothing happens? You fold your arms and wait for another incident, another development, for you to come back to the stage and raise another alarm. Things can get solved if we just keep raising alarms and without doing anything.
Thank you very much. You see, when people exist in society, people exist in that society for the benefit of the society. SERAP is an organization, let me say, made up of about maximum 18 staff, the lawyers, the support staff. Let me ask, what are the bulk of Nigerians doing? It is fitting to say we don't see somebody to raise the alarm, for instance. So we don't even know what is going on. But we are making Nigerians know that this is what is going on. This is the next thing that this government will do. So Nigerians have lost, more or less, their vibe to peaceful protests. Nigerians have lost their voices. So that is not what SERAP likes to see happen. And that is why we continue to be on our toes to fight for the socio-economic rights of Nigerians. When we say socio-economic rights, it is as if we are saying the life and blood of Nigerians. So if we now raise the point and the government does otherwise, what happens to the generality of Nigerian citizens? So it is not a work that SERAP alone can do, but we do it if the civil population of Nigerians see the same thing that we see, that makes us, as you say, raise the alarm. So that we will be in this war, in this fight together, so that we get this government to be responsible and subsequent governments to be responsible.
Now, you don't think your job still continues after raising the alarm, for
You see,
instance, to sensitize the rest of the Nigerians to do the right thing?
Good, good. For example, we recently launched the campus anti-corruption platform. We believe that Nigerian students are pivotal to changing the society. That was why we launched that anti-corruption body among the various universities in Nigeria. That is one of it. But in any case, SERAP is a law-based organization. It's a law-abiding establishment. What we can do subsequently is that if we see that government does anything that is contrary to the Nigerian constitution, we go to court. We have won many cases. The governments will comply with some, they will not refuse to comply with others. But we are following due process because we will not advocate lawlessness. That is not the bit of SERAP.
Okay.
Yes, we know what we are established to do, and that is what we are doing. But we want the support of Nigerians. They cannot continue to sit on the fence. You cannot continue to sit on the fence in a matter that concerns you. All the issues that SERAP advocates about concerns Nigerians, and Nigerians cannot pretend not to be concerned.
Okay, about this previous messages and open messages to the presidency, what has been the response? Is it swift or is it at a snail's pace?
You see, Nigerians, some people have said what they know about this present presidency. The present president is that it takes almost eternity for the president to talk, unlike in some other previous or past regimes. So when the head of government is not, let me say, is a bit reticent, that is what we have. But we will continue to do our own bit, and that is why we are calling on Nigerians to see this fight the way we see it, so that we can make progress together.
Okay.
Now, are misplaced priorities at such a level, that's in this government, at such a level that Nigerians should be concerned about? Is this just, well, a one-off, or, well, it's not that frequent, or has it always been the case?
Let me say straight away that misplacement of priorities is not a thing introduced by this government.
It's been there.
It's been there. It's been there. For example, when you decide not to organize or prioritize what must be prioritized. For example, we've been talking about lecturer strikes, for instance. I was at university, there was lecturer strike. There was a government in town then. We are still facing the same thing. I was also still at university. We have been talking about, we have had about doctor strikes. We are still having it. So the question of expenditure of priority is not peculiar to this government. It has been all like that. Even those we elected, they are also guilty of such atrocious behavior. I say atrocious behavior is that when you don't do the things that you say you will do, I don't understand who do you blame, and when things start getting worse. So that priorities have been misplaced is not a new thing, but we have to stem the tide at a point in time, because when priorities are misplaced, the life of Nigerians gets perilous, gets seriously and dangerously affected. So, and that is why we must continue to raise the alarm, like you said, and so that Nigerians will see it the way we see it.
All right, what's your take on this government's mode of privacy invasion? Because couple of times it's been on the news that this is trying to curb the media, gag the press, or a particular group of persons have been shut up, like more like no talking. You say something, and it's said to be hate speech. So all of those things. What's your take on the invasion of privacy by this government?
As a legal practitioner, I believe that the business of any government is not to conscript or to conscribe the media space. Let the media do its work. Let people express their opinion. Do your own work as a responsible government. So when you now delve into the media space, you are not doing your own work. And that is why I and we at SERAP continues to challenge all these terrible manners of behavior. Because you cannot say you are a government and you don't want anybody to criticize you. You cannot say you are running a government and you don't want people to talk. You cannot say you are running a government and you want people to see nothing and say nothing. That is calling on citizens to be irresponsible. And we want responsible citizenship as much as we want responsible government.
You're talking about the government doing its job, carrying out its responsibilities.
Yes.
I think regulating the social media, which is so sensitive, so powerful, that a mere word there can set the whole country ablaze, I think is the right step in the right direction.
Good.
Do you think otherwise?
No. I believe, you see, like I continue to say, I say freedoms must be exercised within the ambit of the law.
Yeah.
Good.
I'm not saying unrestricted freedom. That does not even exist anywhere in the world. Not even in America, not even in Britain. So what we are saying is that once the law is set, you see, what we call responsible government is not setting laws at every turn. You see, defamation laws have been in existence since Nigeria became independent, over 50 years. So it is not this government that will now tell us the limits of what you must say. Nigerians have been expressing their views, and most of them they express it responsibly. Where there are infractions, people even take themselves to court to sue for defamation. Government takes citizens to court based on criminal defamation. So it is not new. But to now leave your own business as a government elected by people to do certain things. This government came into power on 3 platforms. It says we'll fight corruption, we'll tackle economy, and we'll fight security. So let us measure this government by those 3 strands upon which it came to power. And we now start awarding marks. But to now say you are not performing all those 3 plans which you promised us before coming in, and then we should not talk, that to me is not good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Very, very much. Adetokunbo Abdu Mumuni.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, he's a legal practitioner. He's giving us the legal perspective to this, and of course treated the social aspects as well. Right now, we're going to take a breather. When we come back, hello sports people. It will be time for you to smile, because Jidechi will step in here to give you the latest in sports.